Dear Diary, my name's Chris, and I'm a bookaholic, and today we're going to talk about diaries. No, we're not. We're talking about journals. Look, here's the thing, is that guess what? You know, when I was a kid, all the girls had their little pink diaries. And they had a lock on it, and you were not allowed to go and read their diary. Okay, there's no way I'm ever going to have a diary, okay? Do you understand what I'm saying? That's not, like, you can say, if you're an Englishman and you're rich, I'm going to go write in my diary. You can say that, which, if you're from England, you already know that that's not how anybody sounds. Okay, but if I say diary, and you're anywhere from like 30 to 60, the brain goes immediately to your little sister, your older sister. She has a diary. You're not allowed to read it, okay? Had a little key. You can open it. Okay. The funny thing is that journaling has been a big part of my family. So my father is an artist, and he has used his sketch pad as like his journal, his diary. He basically has kind of chronicled his life, and it's through the written form, but also through the sketches. It's a pretty amazing gift that I will be the recipient of in hopefully a long time from now. But suffice it to say, it's quite possible that it was his example of constantly doodling and writing and diarying. Try to say that, diarying. Like you like writing, singing, diarying. What are you doing, son? I'm diarying. That's why we call it a journal, okay? I'm writing in my journal. So anyway, I think it was maybe some of that example, and I started to do, my own little journaling and sketching, and, it was just kind of a cool way to grow up. As I got older, I realized, this actually helps me. So I would, in a way, use it as a therapy tool and just process things. And I'm a words person, so I like to express myself with words, and I like to receive, affirmation through words. For me, and because of my travels, I've been able to pop into various stores, and over the years, I've realized there's a certain kind of vibe I like when it comes to my sketchbooks, my diaries, my journals. Call it what you want. I call it a journal. And I'm going to just show you a couple of them and just show you why I like them. Here's an example. I remember when I bought this. I bought this years and years ago. I was in the Asheville, North Carolina area, and the band I was in, you may have heard of it, Boys to Men. Okay, that's not the band I was in. But we were doing a concert in that area, and we happened into this store. It was one of the very first times I'd seen something like this. This was it's homemade paper, and what I realized is, like, this is perfect because, it doesn't have the lines, it's unlined, and you could sketch in it if you wanted. I chose to use this specifically at that time as a place where I would journal kind of the meaning behind certain songs that I was writing and we were performing at that time. And so, I mean, it's kind of cool. At some point, I didn't continue on with it because I had written so many songs, and I thought, there's no way I'm going to keep this up, at least, and have a life right now. I'll have to wait till I get older and I can reflect a little bit more on all that music. But I've always loved this especially. And I bought during that time period a variety of diaries. I can't believe I just said that. A variety of journals that were like that homemade paper, super kind of gritty almost feel, rough binding. You couldn't use usually just a regular pencil or a pen. You needed something a little bit more substantial to make a mark that lasted. So I found that using some sort of markers were ideal. So another example of a journal that I like are these, they're kind of like these leather bound. It almost seems like you're in the Civil War time period. And I oftentimes will give this to my little kids or grandkids to sketch and to doodle in. And over the years, it's been a great little thing for me, not just because it has all my thoughts in there, but various moments when my kids have kind of sketched out some of their funny little ideas and images, and it's been awesome. And I love it. And that's kind of part of the whole point, right, of a journal is to be able to look back and remember. This was one of those kind of finds. I probably picked this up at one point in like a Barnes and Noble. They oftentimes will have a pretty cool, section where you can buy journals, and I always loved that kind of old school marbled look to the pages. And usually for me, I go through one of these type of journals in about a year, depending, sometimes more. An example of a book, a journal that I finished, maybe I did a couple of these in a year, was something like this. And again, I'm kind of drawn to these uneven homemade paper, hardcover leather bindings for my journals. It has that old, library mannered look, and it's kind of cool. And most of the time, I find that the ones that I like are coming from places like Italy. And I dropped another book. Every single video I drop a book or something, don't I? All right. Here's another example. I think I bought this around the same time. It's a handmade journal. And actually, this is a thing that my wife and I, we use together. We call it our dream book. And we put all our ideas in it, short-term, long-term dreams. And it's for us as a family. It's kind of a cool little place that we can go back years later and then document some of the things that we had planned out, that we wanted to do, and that we have accomplished. And so it's kind of a cool, not just thing for us individually, but for my wife and I, especially as a couple. It's a neat little activity. Let's get to the other ones. We'll make this faster. So this, again, I love this hardcover, and this is one of my all-time favorite journals. And the only thing I don't like about it, it has the lined paper, and I prefer to not have the lined paper. So, but this is so well done and put together, and I love that it has that ribbon in there, and I can just kind of put all my words of wisdom down for my children who will not read it. They'll probably just look in there and see if there's money. Okay, a couple more of these, and you can see the vibe, right, of what I'm drawn to. It's like these hard leather bound books that ultimately, again, these have the lined insert, the lined pages, which it's not my ideal form, just because I like the ability to just derail and go all over the place, maybe write in circles, for crying out loud, because that's what I'm doing. I'm talking in circles. Anyway, so I have tons of these kind of things, and you okay? See, I think you're moving. All right. Here's another example of this is not as awesome as the other one. It's a little bit too refined, It's almost like I want to be able to touch and it be like Braille. I mean, I want to feel the paper, that kind of thing. And last but not least is this. Here's an example of another type of journal. But listen, my encouragement is do not use something like this, because this is definitely the kind of journal that serial killers use. Okay, I think we've learned that from television, right? They have them all sizes, little tiny ones that have that kind of leather-bound feel. Or my mother made a couple of journals for me, oddly, because she knew that I liked that, and so stuff like this, it's kind of cool. Look at that. Actually, I think my sister made this for me for my 32nd birthday. How sweet. I've not opened it since. Okay. Long and the short, just a couple other examples of journals that I've used. I just finished. This was my last year's journal for 2020. What is the year I'm in right now? 2022. And so I'm a little ahead of the game on that. Sometimes when I go to stores, I'll find one that somebody else had. Like I found this journal. It wasn't mine, but this was there. I picked it up at a used store, and I want you just to see this. It's incredible. They painted in it, and they numbered it. So you can see all of these incredible little, oh, that one's blank, kind of little things that were important. That's a cloth that's probably moving for the first time in 20 years. Yeah, I don't know. Like, look at this. This is so flippin' awesome. Again, my all-time favorite. Now, this does have that funny, it must have had a clasp or something that broke, but whoever got rid of this, it kind of feels sad that it left their family. I mean, that's kind of a cool little thing. I mean, it would be interesting if there's no name in here, so well, Catherine B. Douglas, an anthology of poetry, assembled and bound in New York City by Catherine B. Douglas. It's a first edition, Christmas 19, and then it's inked out on handmade Tuscany. This is a copy, number 1 of a limited edition consisting of 1 copy, arranged for Henrik Haskoff, and signed by the author of part 1, the illustrator, and the anthologist. See, I don't know. I've always thought this is such a special little thing, and obviously it's kind of a unique offering. I don't know much about this person, but I'll have to do a little research. Thanks for joining me on that weird little thing. Anyway, I don't know what you like when it comes to journaling or trying to, put together memories. My father's been doing this kind of cool little thing where he's been going through all of our photos and putting them together in these photo compilations that have some, written narrative there for us to kind of see his journey, and that coupled with his diaries, with his journals, that's going to make for an amazing, legacy that he passed on to us. So, I don't know. What do you like? What's something that's kind of familiar to you or that you cherish? Back in the old days, we used to do things like photo books, and we used to do things like memory boards and all these. Like, here's a funny little thing. This was my grandmother's, and this was what she used to always journal in. She would take these calendars that you would get from banks and places like that, and then she would just write all her information in there. And so I've had times to go through this and look at some of these, and it's so special because every year I'd spend so much time with her. And I don't know. Sometimes I think that we feel like, our life is not a big deal and it's not that incredible, but it really is pretty special and amazing. And you've got a story that's pretty incredible, and you might think, well, I don't know who would read it or who would care, but the truth is, people would probably be very fascinated with your journey, and you're certainly very unique and special in the grand scheme of this thing called life. So don't be afraid to put some thoughts down, and you never know what generation might find great consolation in what you've written. So anyway, I hope this was somewhat of an encouragement. I'd like to see what you're reading, and what kind of journals you like, or diaries or sketchbooks or whatever is your thing. So thanks for watching. Like and subscribe, all that good stuff. You know what to do, probably better than I do, but I love this stuff, and I hope you do too.